All right, so who are you?
I'm Coach Gross, head boys basketball coach, athletic director, and assistant high school principal.
And so how long have you been doing all this?
Let's see, this is my 13th year as head coach, assistant principal, I think it's 10, and athletic director 9.
All right. And what's the hardest part about just doing all of this stuff at once?
All 3 of them? Well, you don't want to cheat any one of the jobs. So the hardest thing is to juggle all the demands of each job. So, I want to make sure I'm doing my job for Mr. Miller and as assistant principal, and then athletic director. You're in charge of all the sports, the coaches, the athletes, and then head boys basketball coach. That's very important because I'm here to put out the best basketball team I possibly can put out, and make sure those guys are doing right, and so it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to juggle all 3 of those and then be effective in all 3 of those at the same time.
So why do you do all of it then? Why do you take on so many duties?
Well, it kind of just evolved because of the growth of Brooklyn. I wanted to get into administration, and so after 3 or 4 years, they allowed me to be the dean of students, and then that turned into assistant principal, which that was, we were a much smaller school at that time, so it wasn't as big a deal to be the assistant principal and the head boys basketball coach. And then when our AD, Mr. McDaniel, he became the superintendent, the AD position was open, and so had an opportunity to do that. I told him didn't want to do that 3 or 4 different times because I thought it might be too much. But honestly, I don't think anybody else wanted to do it either. So I agreed to go ahead and be the athletic director, and took that duty on. Again, we were much smaller at the time, and now we've grown to be a 5A school. And the bigger you are, the more issues I guess you have, and more responsibilities you have in every single job. So it's kind of evolved. When we were a little bit smaller, it wasn't as big a deal, but now since it's growing, we are the fastest growing school in the state of Arkansas. So it's become quite challenging to balance those things.
So after the busy days where you're just exhausted, what do you do when you go home? How do you relax? How do you unwind?
Well, my routine is pretty, I try to work out every day that we're not on game days. If I'm playing a home game or we're traveling, of course I can't work out, but the first thing I try to do is go straight to the gym and get me a workout in, and that usually helps me wind down. And I think that's part of the reason why hopefully I can handle a little bit of the stress and maybe stay healthy, and because the time demands and the stress that's involves each job is very high. So try to work out, try to go straight to the gym from when I leave campus, give me 45 minutes. Then I go home and just try to wind down with the wife and the family, whoever's there. We have 4 kids. They're all graduated now. 2 of them are off, 2 of them are still at home. They got jobs, they're in school, so we see them every once in a while. But you get home and you try to relax for a few minutes, try to get something to eat. But then, I'm trying to prepare for the next day, and if I don't try to prepare for the next day that night, then I'm behind in the morning. So it never ends. My wife sees that, and she's been great and been very patient to allow me to continue to work at home some nights till 9, 10, 11 o'clock. So there's nights I have to work hours, and there's nights I can, chill out a little bit.
So that kind of leads into my next question a little bit. So, is there any days where it's just like you go home and you just cannot shut your mind off from what's going on at school?
Every day. Every day's that way. I try on the weekends to let it go, but if I don't check emails, then if I don't check emails Saturday and Sunday, I have over 300, 400 emails sometimes. There's always somebody calling about some sort of issue, whether it be basketball, a principal issue. A lot of times it's an athletic director's issue. You get calls at all hours of the night. You try to devote your family some time. Even when you're trying to devote to family time, there's calls, there's issues. You have to run down here and take care of something. But I'm lucky. I like to be busy. I don't like to just be still a lot. But it does get a little stressful, and there's a lot of times that we've had family dinners that I've had been called away to handle something here, and that's frustrating. But I have 4 great kids and the best wife ever, and they're very patient, and so that's helped.
So then, going back to your kids, whenever they were still in school, what kind of parent were you? How did you parent?
I don't know. You probably have to ask them. They'll probably tell me I was crazy. But what we tried to do is whatever happened at school, we left it at school. All 4 of them played basketball and sports. So whatever happened in school, we kept it at school. I coached the boys, of course. We got home. We didn't really talk about it a lot. We tried to leave that at school. And sometimes it was hard, but we did a pretty good job of it in trying to separate that, because I couldn't be coach and then come home and still be coach and yelling at them or mad at them or whatever, or I had to be dad. And sometimes it's hard to separate that from time to time, but our rule was we're going to leave it at school. Family time, or when we're at home at night or on weekends, we try to just be as family as much as we can. But again, luckily, they all played sports and athletics and basketball, and everybody was kind of going in the same direction, so that definitely helped.
And then going back to coaching, the last question was, how do you parent? Well, how do you coach?
Well, I think everybody knows how I coach. If you see me, I'm a very demanding coach, very intense. I feel like that when I got to Brooklyn, they kept saying we need a culture change, and when they hired me. So my big thing was I wanted to change the culture of Brooklyn, not just the basketball, but in the culture of just the whole school. And I think I've done a pretty good job of changing that culture and adding to the culture of the whole district. I'm not, of course, not the only person that helped change that culture. There's a lot of people that worked extremely hard, and our growth has changed the culture a little bit. So, I'm an intense coach. Some people might say I'm crazy on the sidelines, and they like to come watch and see how crazy I get. But I'm very demanding. I hold my kids accountable. We probably work as hard as anybody, spend as much time as anybody, any other program. But I'm trying to prepare these guys for life and trying to prepare them to be good leaders, good young men, responsible, and hopefully they can be, parents and husbands and, one day.
And then for the last question, kind of combining the last two, do you think having been a dad helps with your coaching at all?
Yes. You see different perspectives. Before I was a dad, you didn't really understand the parent aspect of coaching. Now, being a father of 4 and coaching 2 of my sons, you see the other side, and you try to be as fair as possible to each kid and understand that this kid has parents that, you know, they want to see him be as successful as possible. And my job is to put that each one of my players in the best position to be successful. But yeah, there's times where I got to be coach, and there's times where I'm like, okay, I got to be a dad, I got to be a parent. I see this side of a situation. So, but yeah, it's not easy doing these 3 jobs at all. It's fun. I enjoy it. I'm very blessed that the district has allowed me to do these 3 jobs. I know this probably won't last forever because we're becoming a much bigger school, and each one of these jobs could be a single job. You know, we can have a head basketball coach, and we can have an athletic director do only that, and we can have assistant principal do only that. So very blessed that I have the opportunity. That's why I try to give everything I possibly can. I don't want to cheat any one of those jobs and cheat any of the people that are affected by those jobs. So again, very thankful, and hopefully I can continue as long as I'm as effective in each one.
All right. Well,
Is that good?
I think so.